Hi, this is Chris with my Arduino tips, and for the next couple episodes we're going to focus on the SaneSmart 1.8 TFT LCD display. In this first episode I'll show you where to purchase this, and then we'll talk about hardware wiring. There's actually two hardware wiring options, and we're going to focus on how to connect it to the Uno. Of course it can work with the Mega and other devices as well. So let's get started. This is the exact device that I ordered from Amazon. It's the SaneSmart 1.8 inch display. It was $18.50. It arrived pretty quickly, and overall I'm pretty happy with it. There's 15 reviews, as you can see, and a lot of the reviews all said the same thing. It comes packaged very plainly in some bubble wrap and no documentation whatsoever. So you're left to fend for yourself to figure out how to wire it up and what libraries to use. So that's really what this video is about, is to help you. If we look at the SaneSmart website for the same display, we see it's $12.99 there, so it's a little higher on Amazon. Also, if we look at Adafruit, and I really like Adafruit because they do a very good job at documenting all of the components that they sell. They have a lot of information as to the wiring, and they include links to libraries and so forth. So you see it's $19.95 here, but I think it's well worth it to order from Adafruit simply for the support that they give you. Lastly, here's a display I found on eBay, and it appears to be very similar. I can't speak for the compatibility with what we're going to talk about in this episode, but I might purchase one of these, give it a shot, and if I do, I'll do a video about it. So let's take a look at how to wire this up. First, looking at the back of the unit, you can see there's a couple different areas. In the upper left hand corner is the SD card, and we'll talk about wiring that in a subsequent video. In this video we're going to focus just on getting the display up and running and some demos on how to do that. Looking at the pinouts, we'll describe each of the pins so you understand what they are, and then talk about how they connect up to the Uno. Here's the pinout for the display. Most of the pins should be self-explanatory, but I want to point out just a couple of things. If you notice in the upper right hand corner we have the power and ground. That's specifically for the backlight. If you plug that in, the backlight comes on. If you don't, you have no backlight. And then in the lower right hand corner there's 4 pins that are specific to the SD card, and I'll cover those in a separate video and talk about how to use those to read and write data. These are the low-speed wiring connections that you need to make between the Uno and the display. We'll look at the high-speed wiring options here momentarily. You may want to pause this to take note of the pin connections. And here's the high-speed wiring connections. Next, I'm going to show a video of both the low-speed and the high-speed screen write so you can see the difference and decide which one works best for your project. So let's compare the two. This is the exact same display connected to the exact same Uno. The only difference is the high speed versus the low speed wiring, and I'm using the demo program provided by Adafruit. As a point of reference for how much faster the high speed wiring option is, the video that I took of the high speed test lasted 24 seconds, whereas the video I took for the low speed test lasted 1 minute and 19 seconds. That's quite a bit of difference, and I would suggest that most of you would probably select the high-speed option. Overall, I really like this display. It doesn't use too many pins, it's reasonably priced, and it looks really good. In the next video, we'll talk about programming and libraries and how to get those, and some basic commands to get up and running with the software. When I have that video completed, look at the bottom of this screen and you'll see a link to that. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe.